Zingit Kainak Saankaláxt Yuchatula Sauk Chak Na Ayakat Kagwantan Ayakat Gooch Hit Ayakat Ganak Tedi Datshan Hatsati Yanwisha Shikakwan. I was born in the Juneau Indian village at the end of the Second World War, when Alaska was still a territory. For the first several years of my life, I lived with my grandmother at the edge of the village while my mother was in and out of the hospital for tuberculosis. When I was 15, my mother and I moved to California, where I stayed for 25 long years, and I never came home, not one time. But not a day went by that I didn't long for home. Finally, when I turned 40, my life in shambles, homeless not for the first time, broke not for the last time, I said to myself, let me go home or let me die with my thoughts facing north. 2 years later, we made it all the way back home to Juneau, and I know I love it more than if I'd never left. I had always fancied that I could write. And the way to become a writer is to read. And I was the only child of a single mother. And she always had a book or a magazine in her hand. And because of that, I always had a book or a magazine in my hand. I read my way through the library, which is now the Juneau Douglas City Museum. And I had never finished high school. I dropped out before I finished 10th grade. But in 1995, when I turned 50, I said, let me go to college. So I took my GED and signed up, took a class on Native American literature, and I realized that's what I was writing. The open-ended structure, the reader-listener participation, different perspectives and points of view, and the calling of nature and place is so important. I was writing all that, and it turned out that that is Native literature. I was thinking about the forest one day, and it came to me. Our stories, our songs, our names, our history, our memories are not lost. All these riches are being kept for us by our aunties, our uncles, our grandparents, our relatives. Those namesakes who walk and dance wearing robes that make them seem like bears and wolves. Our loved ones. Those beings who live in the spoken forest. They are holding everything for us. When I was State Writer Laureate, the most meaningful interactions or when Native people talked to me after the reading and discussion and acknowledged that I had told their story. My first time speaking in front of a significant crowd and being recognized and introducing myself and having a stranger call back an answer from the audience showed me that any of my achievements, any awards, any recognition is not only mine. It belongs to Tlingit people. I had left in 1961, and ANCSA and the oil in Prudhoe Bay had hit in the 70s, and so everything was new. Not just the Egan Expressway, but all the buildings, so the mall, everything was new. But as I walked up Capitol Avenue towards Evergreen Bowl, the mountain made its presence strongly felt and strongly known, and I felt comforted and home when I was in the presence of the mountain. Sometimes I think about it, that Everyone growing up in Juneau with the mountain right there lives with the mountain every day, right? Live with the presence of the mountain. So familiar to it, you don't even see it. You just feel it all the time. Yada acclaim. I believe that the things that we learn about balance and about sharing and kinship and survival and dependence are not strictly indigenous values and knowledge. They are human values and human knowledge, because we are all human and we share all these human experiences of grief and love and excitement and fear, but also because here we are together. Here we are together. History and events and circumstances have put colonizers and colonized and oppressed and oppressor and all of us together here now, and our only future is a future together as humans.